But it start with yourself, that's called self-love. But it start with yourself, that's called self-love. It's called self-love.
Welcome back for part 3 of my new channel, What Does Healing Look Like? So, if you all have been in tune and watching my other videos, you see that this channel is predominantly focused towards talking about specific issues regarding healing and regarding being hurt. You know, I feel like within this world, we all are trying to figure things out on our own, right? Life be lifing, right? And there's no particular rule book to life. So in a lot of cases, we deal with pain, we deal with hurtful things, and things can be very frustrating. It can be very misleading. It's a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of misconceptions, a lot of misinterpretation, right? And that causes a lot of chaos and a lot of turmoil, right? And a lot of trauma, right? How do we deal with trauma, right? So this video today will particularly focus on utilizing our pain wisely, right? Something my father always says to me is how to utilize my time wisely. He just always on me about this, you know? And it's crazy, even me shouting my father out, right? Like my dad, right? Growing up, I always perceived it as my dad wasn't there for me, or my dad didn't do this, he didn't do that. You know, I always perceived things from, let's say, the glass being half empty versus the glass being half full. You understand? You follow me? So it's all about perspective. So when we talk about utilizing our pain wisely, basically I'm just referring to going through hurtful moments in your life, understanding the things you go through, having empathy for others, right? And having less sympathy for ourselves. I think a lot of people tend to feel entirely too sorry for themselves, right? People feel pain and like, why me? God, why me? Why this happened to me? How comes I have to do this? How come me, right? Rather than understanding things happen for a reason, you know? It's for a season and for a reason, right? So I believe that the toughest people in life and some of the greatest people in life had some of the most difficult battles, right? Some of the wealthiest people in this world have dealt with some of the most difficult times, right? If you talk to some millionaires and billionaires, I'm sure they can tell you about times they struggled and they faced adversity and had to overcome this obstacle or that obstacle way more than the times they completed things well and the times they actually accomplished things, right? You just have to persevere through. You have to be persistent. You have to be consistent. You have to be goal-oriented and locked in, tunnel vision, understanding where you want to go, understanding the destination, right? When you get in a car, right, and you're driving to the destination, what do you do when you first get in a car? Prior to you going to the destination, you want to understand where it is that you're going, right? Put it in the GPS, have the directions, right? Have an understanding about where you're going. So when it comes to everything I'm talking about, we're basically applying that same concept as far as having direction, but just referring to our emotions, right? Having a direction when it comes to healing, having an understanding regarding our emotions, right? So we want to just acknowledge the things that we've been through. We want to acknowledge where we're headed. We want to acknowledge where we're going and what we want to gain, right? What do we want to gain? Do we just want to address the problem at hand, right? I think that's why some people are afraid to acknowledge some of the things they've been through, because finding these solutions, understanding healing, and acknowledging these things are difficult, right? It's easier, to point out the problem than to find a solution. One thing I personally strongly dislike is when people critique without any plan of correcting you, right? A person can judge you, a person can point out your wrongdoing, will have no plan or intention to help you and lead you to the right direction, right? I think that's like some of the most lowest frequency type of behavior that can possibly exist within a person. Is somebody who sees you struggling, sees you doing bad, and rather than picking you up or figuring it out with you or going through that struggle with you, not only will they view you doing bad, but they will then talk to you about the bad that you're doing with no plan of seeing you do well. In fact, some people will actually feed off of the negativity that you're going through and find some type of satisfaction out of it. This is a real thing that many people experience, right? You literally have an Instagram page called The Shade Room. What? You mean to tell me it's a room where we just throw shade freely? As if this is cool? It's almost like a place where people can just come to hate, can just openly hate, right? Without having to pretend like they're happy, without having to pretend like they want well for other people. They can just hate, right? And because it's these celebrities or people who have these big platforms, it's easier to talk about these people rather than, talk about ourselves. With the law of polarity, it says we are more alike than apart, right? So we are all connected more than disconnected. But within this universe, as of recently, things have been so disconnected. So, even with this channel, my goal is to bring unity, bring understanding, acknowledge the hurt, acknowledge the pain. I'm not trying to encourage people to acknowledge painful things just to revisit pain with no plan of overcoming that pain. The sole and pure intention is to overcome the pain as if the pain never happened. But in fact, by doing that, you will actually be in a better position versus not going through that pain. Because if you're able to go through a painful moment, acknowledge it properly, and then overcome it, the wisdom you have now gained from that experience will put you in a way better position than you not going through that pain at all, right? It's all about your perspective and how you see it, right? If you go through a painful moment and you're just hurt, sad, discouraged, you just want to tell everybody, you just want everybody to feel sorry for you and feel sympathy for you, and you don't have any plan on acknowledging the things that you could have done to prevent that thing from occurring, the things that you may have done that added on to the thing that happened to you, right? Because we always have a choice. Sometimes we accept people in our lives and the red flags are right there, right? But because we like this and that about the person, or because we have access to this or that with the person, or because I like this girl, right? She look good, her body, but man, she annoying, she don't respect me as a man, she don't do this, she don't do that. Then why are you tolerating her? Right? You always have a choice, right? People will sit there and complain about their partner, or complain about a friend, or complain about a parent, and not realize that you have a choice. You don't always have to put up with what you're involving yourself with. You can step away. Sometimes stepping away is way easier said than done, right? So although I'm offering a solution about what we should do and what we could do, actually doing it does take more effort and more energy. So overall, I just want to encourage everybody to recognize the things that you go through, right? Recognize the hurtful moments that you have in your life and try to acknowledge it, right? Sometimes it may be hurtful to acknowledge things that you've been through, right? Especially for water signs, right? Many Cancers, many Pisces out there, perceive things differently when things happen to us. I'm saying us and put myself in a water sign's shoes, right? But I love water signs, right? Even having water sign as friends or as ex-girlfriends, it gave me the opportunity to understand people on a different level, and it gave me it was pretty much like a empathy challenge, right? To upgrade my empathy, right? And being empathetic, is basically putting yourself in someone else's empty shoes, right? understanding their story, understanding their pain, instead of judging a person or analyzing a person or criticizing or ridiculing a person, actually putting yourself in their shoes and trying to help them, right? Overall, the reason why this is so important is because emotions are directly connected to behavior. Behavior is directly connected to your overall happiness, which is directly connected to your overall value of life and your overall way of living. How do you want to live? Do you want to live as somebody who overcomes situations and overcomes obstacles? Or are you somebody that want to succumb to your situation? Somebody that wants to be defeated and be discouraged, right? You don't want to be dismantled. You want to be above anything that you go through, right? You don't rise above it by avoiding it and ignoring it, right? We want to start practicing acknowledging our emotions, recognizing the things that have hurt us, communicating effectively within ourselves and within the people who have hurt us, right? And then we want to utilize that pain in a strategic manner and allow it to catapult us to the next level and be the best versions of ourselves. So that is all for today, ladies and gentlemen. You know, this one is going to be a shorter video than the previous ones, right? I'm trying to be straight to the point and be direct. But overall, I just want us all to utilize our pain wisely. Let's stop allowing our pain to hold us back from our gains. No pain, no gain, right? And just because you go through pain does not mean you should be ashamed.
But it start with yourself, that's called self-love. But it start with yourself, that's called self-love.